Okay, let's try and unpack something that sounds, well, a bit contradictory. Sony's chief financial officer, Lin Tao, just came out on August 7th. He said Xperia smartphones are still a very important business for Sony. And he was really clear, no plans to exit the smartphone business.
Right.
Now, if you follow tech at all, you're probably thinking, wait a second. I mean, Xperia's global market share is tiny, almost nothing, right? It's even dropped out of the top 5 in Japan. It's home turf. So how does something with such a small commercial footprint get called very important by Sony? Seems weird.
Yeah, it does seem weird on the surface, but what's really key here, I think, is the timing and the context. You didn't
Yeah.
just say this out of the blue. It came right after a pretty rough patch for Xperia.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Well, you might remember the fatal shutdown bug with the Xperia 1 this 7th. It actually led to a product recall over in Japan. Big deal.
Yeah.
And Lin Tao even started his statement by apologizing, saying sorry for the huge inconvenience to our users.
Ah, okay. So saying it's very important right after a major problem, that definitely adds another layer.
Exactly. It makes you think this isn't just about sales numbers. It's more of a strategic statement, a defense of its underlying value, perhaps.
Okay, so that's what we should dig into then, this strategic value. How does Sony actually justify keeping this line going when, the sales figures look the way they do? That's our mission for this deep dive, unpacking why Xperia matters so much to Sony. We need to look at, well, what Sony themselves say, that it's about communication technology used for things other than smartphones. We'll check out the tough market situation, its role as an R&D hub, this whole creator focus, and what choices Sony has to make next.
Sounds good.
So let's start with those numbers, just to really set the scene, because they do make it puzzling. Globally, Xperia phones, they're barely a blip on the radar. You've got Apple, Samsung, way out front. Sony, not even in the main rankings, it's just lumped into others.
Right. A tiny slice.
And like you said, even in Japan, where you'd expect them to be strong, they're struggling, losing ground to local brands and even Google's Pixel phones.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that fits into Sony's bigger picture. The Xperia business is part of their Entertainment, Technology, and Services segment, ET&S. And yes, that whole segment saw sales dip, but 11% down year-on-year in Q1 FY25. Operating income dropped even more, like 33%.
Ouch, that sounds bad for Xperia's parent division.
It does, but here's the twist. Sony overall, as a group, they actually did pretty well in that same quarter. Total sales were up 2%, and operating income jumped 36%, mostly thanks to their gaming division, PlayStation, and their camera sensor business.
Ah, okay. So the rest of Sony is making enough money to kind of subsidize Xperia, or at least give it breathing room.
You could see it that way, yeah. It gives them a buffer. They can afford to keep Xperia going, even if it's not a huge money spinner on its own, because its value might be measured differently, not just in units sold.
So it's like an internal investment. But even with that backing, Xperia faces some pretty serious headwinds in the market, doesn't it? Beyond just the low sales volume.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And this brings up questions about their strategy. A big one is pricing. Xperia phones are really expensive.
Yep.
Super premium. You're looking at, what, almost $200,000 sometimes? That's like $1,500 for the Xperia 1.7.
Wow. That's top-tier flagship money.
Exactly.
Huh.
And a common criticism you hear is that you're getting sort of mid-range hardware at flagship prices. Or maybe the specs just aren't quite matching other top phones, even though the price is higher. Sony's historically been reluctant to cut prices or margins just to sell more phones. That choice keeps volume down and prices up.
Okay, so pricing is one hurdle. Are there other big problems stopping them from, breaking through?
Yeah, a couple other significant ones. The marketing is, well, pretty lackluster, almost non-existent in some places. Certainly in big markets like the U.S., a lot of people just never see an Xperia phone in a store, never see an ad. It's hard to buy something you don't know exists or can't easily find.
Right, out of sight, out of mind.
And then there are the software issues that keep popping up. Users complain about bugs, phones randomly shutting down, lagging. Overheating is a big one, especially when using the camera. That fatal shutdown bug on the One the Etch was kind of the most extreme example, but smaller issues seem persistent.
That's tough for a premium device. People expect smooth performance at that price. And Sony's known for great cameras, but how does that actually play out on the phones?
It's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. They definitely pack in Sony's pro camera tech, things like sensors and processing know-how. But users sometimes find the camera app maybe more complicated than point and shoot. And surprisingly, some reviews say it struggles with moving subjects or low light compared to other flagships.
Really? That's counterintuitive for Sony.
It is. Even the latest Xperia 1.7 camera, while powerful, didn't quite clinch the title of very best camera phone for everyone. And there's another layer, an internal one. Sony's different divisions sometimes operate in silos, like they compete internally.
Ah, the classic big company problem.
Yeah. So the amazing camera sensor team, or the audio wizards, might not always integrate their tech perfectly or seamlessly into the Xperia phones. It kind of holds the phone back from being the absolute best showcase of all of Sony's technology.
Okay, so we've laid out the challenges pretty clearly. Price, marketing, software bugs, maybe even internal issues. So let's flip it. Why is it so important then? What's the strategic argument that keeps Sony invested?
Well, this is where that CFO quote comes back in. Lin Tao said, telecom technology is a technology that we have been nurturing for a long time, and it's used for things other than smartphones. That's the real clue, I think. Xperia acts as a sort of R&D lab in your pocket.
A lab? How so?
They use it to develop and shrink down their cutting-edge tech camera sensors, audio processing, screen technology, 5G comms for a mobile device. It's a place to test, refine, and miniaturize innovations in a real-world product. And then, that know-how, that refined tech, can be transferred to other Sony products. Think professional cameras, TVs, headphones, often things with higher profit margins.
I see. So selling phones isn't the only goal. It's about pushing the tech forward for the whole company.
Precisely. The value is partly in that technological cross-pollination across the Sony group. It helps maintain their edge.
Okay, that makes sense as one pillar. The sources also talk a lot about a specific brand angle, like focusing on creators. Is that another key part of the strategy?
Absolutely. That seems to be the other major pillar. Sony explicitly says Xperia aims to deliver the best of Sony to every creator. They're not really trying to sell to everyone. Their target is specific. Content creators, filmmakers, photographers, audio pros on the go.
So they're leaning into Sony's heritage in professional gear.
Exactly. They market it like a pro camera and a smartphone. They bring features like S-Sign Tone, that's the color science, from their expensive cinema cameras right into the phone. So mobile creators can get that signature Sony look. They also have apps like Music Pro for high-quality audio recording, and it all ties into their Creators Cloud platform.
Creators Cloud, what's that?
It's their system for seamless camera-to-cloud workflows. So if you shoot on an Xperia, or even one of their bigger cameras, you can easily upload footage, use cloud-based editing tools. It tries to create an ecosystem. If you're already using Sony cameras, maybe mics. Using an Xperia phone makes your workflow smoother. It encourages loyalty to the whole Sony system.
Ah, creating that lock-in effect. Makes sense. It ties Xperia directly to Sony's identity around creativity and high-end tech. So how does this creator focus fit into the bigger Sony strategy? They talk about this creation shift, right?
Yes, exactly. Sony's whole corporate mission is about filling the world with emotion through the power of creativity and technology. And they're actively pushing this creation shift across all their businesses, content studios, products, even their semiconductor division.
And Xperia is part of that shift.
Definitely. By focusing on pro-level tools for creators, Xperia directly supports that core mission. It becomes a mobile tool within that larger creative ecosystem. Remember the CFO emphasizing communication tech as a core capability. That ties in too. Think about transmitting high-quality photos or videos instantly from the field using 5G. Xperia helps develop and showcase that capability, which is valuable for news gathering, broadcasting, etc. They even have specialized transmitter devices, like the PDT-FP1, that leverage this tech.
Okay, got it. So Xperia isn't just a phone, it's like a strategic piece in their bigger puzzle. It connects the pro gear, the cloud services, the mobile tech. It enables this whole interconnected vision.
You've got it. It's an enabler for their digital transformation, a mobile front end for professional tools, and a way to keep innovating in key tech areas.
It's definitely a much bigger picture than just sales numbers suggest. But the CFO did also say they want to continue to grow this business. So where do they go from here? We saw some changes, like the Xperia 1VI moving to a more standard screen ratio, maybe trying to be more mainstream. Was that the idea?
It seems like it's an attempt, yeah. Shifting away from the very tall 21.9 screen, downgrading the resolution slightly, maybe trying to broaden the appeal a bit. But this puts Sony in a tricky spot, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, they seem caught in the middle. They tweak some features to be more mainstream, like the screen change you mentioned, but they keep the super premium price and the niche marketing focus. So they risk annoying the hardcore fans who liked the unique features, but they're maybe not doing enough to actually attract regular buyers away from Apple or Samsung. It feels a bit hesitant.
A halfway house that pleases no one.
Potentially. It hasn't really moved the needle commercially. So if they genuinely want to grow this business, as the CFO says, they probably need to make a bolder choice.
Okay, so what are the real options then? What are those decisive paths?
Broadly speaking, there seem to be two main directions they could go. One, really commit to being more mainstream. That means seriously rethinking the price, making it competitive, pouring real money into marketing and getting phones into stores, especially somewhere like the US, and crucially, nailing the software, making it reliable, fast, with timely updates.
So compete head on with the big guys. That's option one. What's option two?
Option two is the opposite, in a way. Double down on the niche. Become the undisputed champion for creators and pro users. Forget mainstream appeal. Focus on delivering absolutely best-in-class, flawless camera and audio experiences, unique features that professionals genuinely need, things that justify that premium price tag, make it the ultimate tool for that specific high-value audience.
Uncompromising niche dominance. Okay, two very different strategies.
Very different, and they probably need to pick one and really go for it rather than staying in this slightly ambiguous middle ground.
Right. So wrapping this up then, we've got this really clear paradox, haven't we? Xperia has this deep strategic value for Sony. It's an R&D driver, showcases their best tech, fits their whole creation shift idea. That's undeniable.
Uh-huh.
But then you have the commercial reality, tiny market share, prices that many feel aren't justified, ongoing complaints about software, camera usability, even those internal silos we talked about.
Exactly, and that leads straight to the core dilemma for Sony's leadership right now.
Right.
The CFO says, grow the business.
Mhm.
But how? Do they make that aggressive play for a broader audience, lower prices, more marketing, fix the software fundamentals? Or do they forget the mainstream and build the absolute ultimate flawless niche device for creators that commands its high price?
A really crucial decision point for them. And it leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to chew on. What does it really signal when a giant company like Sony calls a product line with such low sales very important? Does it change how we think about value in tech, moving beyond just quarterly sales or market share? And depending on which path Sony chooses for Xperia, what ripple effects might that have on the rest of the tech world, on the way different technologies get integrated, and maybe even on the devices you use every day, whether you'd ever buy an Xperia or not? Something to think about.